समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरु ब्रह्म विद्वरम्. So welcome to our second home, which is Chinmay Mission. I'm very glad that my two co-founders, Mr. Keval Noria and Yogesh Anle, are here. We began this journey of soil and its parent Grow Talent 10 years back in this space, and Harish, one of our well-wishers and friends, would remember when we launched the parent of soil, which is Grow Talent, in this very room. And since then, every year, the most beautiful part of our life has been, you will find on 29th of March every year, around that time, in Delhi railway station at the Jammu Mail, you will find a group of young and others who don't look young physically, but young from inside, boarding a train and bringing their food from their home together. And on the way, they share stories, and then they sing, which no train journey in India can be complete without singing. And chatting throughout the night till the fellow passengers begin to remind us that we need to be compassionate to also their existence in the train. And then we reach Pathankot station, and from there we drive. On the way, we stop at this beautiful tea stall and have our morning chai, and then we go to Sidbari. And Sidbari is the place of Swami Chinmayananda Samadhi. This institute that we've created, Soil, is deeply inspired by the Master's life and his teachings. I was only 4 years old when I had the good fortune of meeting Gurudev. And every moment of his life was full of teaching. With every breath, there was learning, and it was special. It was not merely the fact that he was one of the finest speakers you would ever meet in your life, but it's the way he lived his life. You could time your watch by his arrival. You could study the way he interacted with people, the way he had the welfare of every single person in mind, if that's possible, and the unconditional love that he felt in his heart for every living being, and sometimes not even living, but just the universe. And so it gives us great joy that in his space today, we are gathered here to share the story about the second year of Soil. This school began because we felt that we needed to do something to take responsibility for the way we live now. We felt that business has a profound impact on the planet, that the world of business has more access than even the world of politics. And that business people, because of their dealings or the lack of them, impact the world in very, very powerful ways. And we knew that there is a very strong nexus between the not-so-good business people and the not-so-good business followers, along with politicians, along with the community, of the kind that was actually creating serious issues in the world in which we live. For example, we knew there is a lot more terrorism today. I don't know about you, but when I was a child and we would go and play in the park, the thought would never strike us if we found something lying there. It wouldn't even come to our heart, this question that there is something suspicious about some object. But today, if we go into a park, the first thing we tell our kids is to be careful with what is lying there. We see in our neighborhoods, and when we were children, I saw the example of my father, and I'm sure I've heard stories from Mr. Keval Noria, our chairman, about the way he was brought up. My father used to earn 500 rupees as an army officer, and every month he used to remove 50 rupees out of that to give to the poor. And my mother would sometimes become a little bit unsure, because she would say my sister doesn't have the second dress she requires to go to Miranda House, where she should look presentable. And my dad would remind her and us, at least she has a dress. So I saw that deep compassion for people around. And as I was beginning to see, as we were beginning to become economically more developed as a country, we were also seeing the lack of connection between neighbors and the community. And everybody was on a race to improve their own self-worth economically, but we also saw the impact of that. We also saw that in our hurry to produce more, we were consuming a lot more. And I think the good old-fashioned thing about service before self, which is taught in the services, and many of you are army officers and services officers sitting here, we have seen that this virtue of seva or service, I think is no longer considered as the most important virtue to have. So looking at that, we said to ourselves, and many of us were meditating about why we should create soil, and we said, instead of cursing darkness, it's our responsibility to do something which we have the opportunity to create. And so we were all inspired to create soil. This is an experiment in higher education. We have absolutely no idea what will happen to soil in the long term. But we are very convinced that this experiment is needed, and we are absolutely convinced that it is worth putting all your life's investments into. So for me, my wife was joking with me and said, you know, you are now getting to be in the middle age, you forget as to how old you are, and why is it at this age you put all your life savings once again into a cause that you believe in, and what do you think is going to happen? And I said to her, if you don't do that, then what is the purpose of life itself? And so the thought struck me when we created soil, and I was talking to Mr. Noria and Yogesh and my fellow co-creators. There was a choice, should we go ahead and build an NGO which kind of does more good, or should we create leaders in the world of organizations who actually think with that sensitivity, with that deep compassion? In the last 1 year in soil, we have been able to do a few small things, and I just want to talk about that. I'm glad my colleague Nishchay Suri is here, and Nishchay was the president of Soil till a few months back, and you know, we started the journey of soil in this room on 15th of February, one day after the Valentine Day, because we didn't want to, you know, disturb the students on the 14th, but 15th of February, a few years back was when the first event was held here, and I think the room was filled to the same extent, about 300 people in the room, and we announced the opening of soil. How many of you were present here that day? So quite a few hands are going up, so I'm so glad George Epen, our friend from across the 7 seas, from INSEAD and its sister unit, CDAP, is here, and you know, so many of you were here that day. This journey started with our charter batch, the pioneers who believed in this concept and who took the major risk on their life. I must remind you, when they decided to join soil, the world was facing the worst recession known to at least the living of today. And at that time, the companies, if you would go and tell them, I want to take a year off to go and study, they would say, you rather leave rather than take leave. You understand? And so that's what was happening. And yet, these 60 students who joined our first batch, and some of them are here, would you please stand up, the charter batch? Where is the charter batch? There is Uttara, there is Ankush, there is Natasha, there is Shubhika, who was the MC. I want us to give them a really big hand, you know. Yeah. They had the faith in us, and a small group of us started this journey in my home, which became the project office. And I want to acknowledge the startup team that also believed in this concept and came together. So would you please stand up, Nishchay, Krishan, Millie, Shrikantji. Yes, yes, yes. And we said something right from the beginning, the experiment that we will do in higher education is going to be an experiment which is not as per the path which exists today. So we said, therefore, we will not go to the government for approvals. We don't want any funding. We don't want to give a degree. But the only people we want recognition from are real organizations who believe in inspired leadership. So we wrote to several of the companies that we had deep respect for, and they decided to support the cause of soil. And I would like to particularly honor all the companies here who are in the room today. The Tata Steel, Chanakya, where are you? Would you please stand up? We have Pratik Roy from the Aditya Birla Group. We have Krishnan from Dabur. We have Mr. Tiwari from ACC. And we have Mr. Burman from Maruti Suzuki. And I'm sure there'll be many more before the evening is over you will find in the room. These companies believed in what we were trying to do. And they have been very generous with their time. Because the companies asked me, Mr. Muthuraman of Tata Steel called me and said, we will support soil, and what do you want from us? Do you need our money? Investment? Are you looking for funding? I said, no, I want something more than money. I want your time. I said, money you can sign a check and give me, but that's not what we require. We want deep involvement and encouragement. And I'm so pleased that these companies have freely and selflessly given of themselves. Last 1 year, it's been a real pleasure in the second year of soil to continue to receive their support. This concept of creating an industry consortium that celebrates the existence of soil, and then I want to honor all the NGOs who came forward, because we said one thing that we will do in soil, since we are trying to build leaders with a heart, we must have the platform or the kshetra, as we call in Sanskrit, where people can go and do seva. So which are the really worthwhile not-for-profit NGOs that are doing inspiring work? So when our students go and spend 1 day in a week with them, they will come back with the humility and with a deep sense of gratitude with what they had learned. And so I want to honor all our NGO partners who are here. We have, Kiran Bediji's organization, Navjyoti who's here, and we have Can Support who's here. And we have so many of our NGO partners who are sitting in the audience. May I request them to please stand up? The NGO partners who are here of soil. Yeah. We have the SOS Children Village here. We have Deepalya here. Deepalya, SOS Children Village. We have Can Support. So we have these amazing NGOs. We learned from our master, Swami Chinmayananda, that the one who receives the seva does not receive even 5% of the benefit compared to the one who offers seva. We learned that we do seva because it makes us better people. And actually the benefit of that goes to the giver 100 times more than the receiver. And I don't think our students or all of us have been able to make any significant contribution to your cause, but you have made a huge difference to the lives of these people. I just want you to know that when they go back and the stories they come back with, and they can't stop talking about what they experience with you. And it makes them and their life more worthwhile. So I just want to thank you for that. This year we had a lot of other people who joined hands with us. We had this conference that we created called the Inspired Leadership Conference. And the theme was Prosperous Asia, Peaceful Asia. The thought came to us that most of our money in the countries like India today, if you see as a percentage of our GDP, is going to protect our future. We are spending much too much on defense. We are spending much too much in worrying about terrorism, into attacks from the seas, from the air. And this is all happening because we have made our life very messy. All around us, we are not taking responsibility for peace. We are taking responsibility for resolving conflict or trying to confront conflict. Now, the practice of peace requires an open heart, requires deep dialogue and deep patience. Above all, it requires the practice of unconditional love. We thought it is worth dedicating a whole conference on this subject. So we had the Inspired Leadership Conference, and our students did an amazing job this year. They enrolled the future generation of leaders. We had children from modern school, heritage school, Delhi public school, and we had these 14, 15, 16-year-old kids who came and participated with this generation, even as our generation was observing this beautiful dialogue. And Kanupriya Sekhri, who represents for us the best of young generation leadership. And Kanu, please stand up to be recognized. She did this amazing conference this year, and along with every one of the students, she was like the person at the back. She was the leader following from the back. And these were the leaders leading from the front. All of them are sitting here in their wonderful dress today. And then we had the most profound experience of our participation in the March Against Corruption. All of us, and some of the parents who are sitting here were in Delhi, and we had Daksh's parents who are sitting here who were applauding their son for doing something worthwhile. So we left Gurgaon metro station, we all held hands, we prayed, and we made a commitment to ourselves that when we march against corruption, it is not that the enemy is out there. The corruption is within us. This march is a manifestation of our resolve to improve our lives. And by participating in this, we are not pointing fingers at some people, but that we are confronting the weakness within ourselves. And when we march, we say, we as India will take responsibility for our future. And I'm so proud of this batch and the way they came together and the exceptional work that they did. I mean, these guys became really role models for me for the struggle they were going through in their own hearts to become better leaders. I will never forget that sight for the rest of my life. And of course, all the slogans that we all did. Ek, do, teen, char. There, this kind of thing which was so beautiful. And the atyachar, of course, happens within all of us. It was great fun. It was great togetherness, including distributing T-shirts on the metro station and the cop coming with a danda thinking that we are up to some mischief, and to confronting all that. So very, very beautiful part of that life. And this year, these students, because there are such wonderfully talented students, they also demonstrated their creativity by sponsoring and becoming a chapter of the Society for Promotion of Indian Classical Music and Art, SPICMACAY as it is called. And they had these wonderful, Odissi dance performance in soil. They also had this amazing Sufi singing that happened in soil. And so SPICMACAY is now part of our happening in soil. And I think they did some very, very beautiful work on that. This year was also special because our students went and did internships. They went and worked with many of you sitting here, and they did themselves proud. I would end because I don't want to take more time. I'll just end by saying 3 things about this batch of people. They are special because of people sitting here, their parents and families. You did a fine job in raising them, each one of you. You gave them the values. And you must feel very proud of how your kids have turned out to be as grown-up young men and women. They are the leaders of consequence. And I want to honor you because you were their first teachers. The parents are always direct manifestations of God himself. So I want you to know that you people are very special, the families. So let's give them a big hand, yeah? Yeah. And then the baton was passed to all of us in soil who are attempting to create an environment where they discovered themselves. So I want all the staff of soil and the students, faculty members, all the faculty members and staff of soil to please, they're standing there. Yeah. And then one more time, all the recruiters and industry people who are here, who are supporting in shaping soil, I want them to stand up, please, and to be recognized. Yeah. It started with you. The people at the back provided the stimulus in learning. The people here will receive our products, and they have been helping us in designing everything to shape that. But these are the real future of the planet. I want to applaud each one of you for the way you conducted yourself. You are special, you know that. And you are going to be truly people who are going to make this world better. I want you to know that you are exceptional people, and the way you have conducted yourself, you will leave a permanent mark on our lives. So I just want to thank you and for this beautiful thing. I was very deeply touched this morning. Students came and met me, and they said to me that we are going to donate so much percentage of our salary to soil. I've never seen that happen earlier in my life. So I said to the students, I said, you know, you want to give the material help, by all means you should work with Kanupriya, and we should use the money you wish to give to do more good in the world through all our NGO partners. But I was deeply touched with that statement of our students. And I wanted to say to them that the best gift that parents require, teachers require, and of course we in Soil require from you, is to just live your dream and to become the kind of leaders that you dream about becoming. Nothing else will give us more joy than that. So thank you.